and welcome back to the Rock Dojo. My name is Brian Parham, your guitar sensei. In this lesson, we're going to talk about the guitar amplifier. Now, I have a Roland Microcube here, one of my favorite amps for students. And one of the reasons I love this amp so much is because of the auxiliary input right here, which allows you to play backing tracks as you practice. Now, we'll get there in a minute, but let's go through the knobs on the bottom. Of course, you have the power knob to the far right here. You have the master volume, which we'll get to in a minute. I'm going to go all the way back to the gain. The gain is important because that controls the overall dirt of the sound. So the higher the gain, the dirtier it's going to sound, and the lower the gain, the more clean it's going to sound. Check this out. Here's the gain, relatively low. It's almost like an acoustic guitar sound. Now, if I turn that gain up past 12 o'clock, listen to the way it changes the tone. Most of my students like to play with a lot of gain, but you want to experiment with a little bit of gain and a lot of gain, depending on the sound you're trying to achieve. Now, you have the volume knob, and this is really important. Whenever you plug your amp in, you want to make sure that your volume knob is low and gradually increase the volume knob. The last thing that you want to do is have the volume knob on max volume and you strike a chord. That's the best way to damage your ears or the ears of somebody else around you. So make sure your volume knob and your master knob are low and you gradually increase the volume as you dial in your tone. And here you actually have a tone knob, and that determines the level of high frequency. I think at this stage, as a beginner, it's best to keep the tone knob around 12 o'clock. Now, the master knob is the overall loudness or softness of both the guitar sound, but also of the auxiliary channel. And once again, that auxiliary channel is where you can plug in an iPhone and you can play along with a backing track or any other device, really. At the top here, we have the different amp types. Now, this is specific to the Roland Microcube, which is my favorite amp for kids. But the furthest to the left you go, the cleanest the sound, and the furthest to the right, the more metal or the more distorted the sound. Now, you also have effects. You have right here, you have your effects channel, which you have chorus, you have tremolo, and you have phaser. Every amp is a little bit different, but it's one of the reasons I like this particular amp. And finally, you have your reverb and your delay. And they're really cool. They come on a lot of different amps, and they just add a little bit of texture to the sound. Here's the sound without reverb or delay. And here's the sound with some reverb. Now that covers guitar amp. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about my favorite subject, practicing. Remember, every master was once a beginner. The more you practice, the better you will become. I'll see you in the next lesson.